closing in on the hour mark. Neither team has made a change yet, although that could change shortly, as the rest of the world has caught on to how the USL Championship approached things 5 years ago. 5 subs in up to 3 intervals plus halftime. Neither side made changes at the break. It's Baquero, son of a Spanish soccer legend, including his time at Barcelona and the Spanish national team, Baquero. Decide by Kiernan. Lambert. Jamaican flicked it across. Darnell King, the offseason acquisition with so much promise. Baquero over Stanton. Cervantes a bit late and gets on his horse.
You put yourself in such a problematic situation with the ball like that, Mike. John Baquero really still trying to find himself offensively in this match. You play it up over top. There's your 2 pivot 8s and 10s. Even if you complete it to Sam Stanton, you've left yourself overexposed in the middle. You're asking the likes of Dadashov to drop back in, Junior Flemings. If the counterattack's on, they're now chasing 30, 40 yards the other direction. And you've got the easy 5-yard ball right in front of you.
And by Baquero, sprinting down Flemings over the top and out. There's applause there from the Phoenix sideline. And a change coming. John Baquero making his way off. We got a pretty clear indication from Rick Schantz, his head coach. He wasn't too pleased with his performance against Galaxy. How do you think he responded tonight?
Same thing. It's not what they're looking for. They're asking John Baquero to do so much, but be so simplistic in his efforts when he does so. And that kind of contradicts itself, right? You're asking your playmaker to be simple. But in this system, it allows itself to open up so much. You don't have to do so many difficult things. You just have to do the easy things right. And the good example was just a couple moments ago. Just outside the top of the 18, play a ball square to your right, and you can whip one into the box. Instead, you play the most difficult ball. A few minutes before that, he's 15 yards inside the center circle. That's where you want the likes of Lambert to step in. And if Lambert's not there and Baquero goes, then Lambert has to become that extension. And again, when you haven't played, Mike, and those repetitions just aren't there, that's where the frustration starts to boil over. You get away from your game plan. Smart by the coaching staff on the sideline to make a change and allow somebody else to get involved.
Mark Cuban in the background does not look happy about this stoppage of play.
You're special. Good for you. This will be the first time we've gotten some real extended minutes out of Santi Moar, Mike.
One exciting player he's been, both in the Philly Bethlehem system, also at New Mexico United. Darnell King. At halftime, you were saying Santi Moar could really change this game.
You hate to say it, right? You don't want to be in a situation where you're already pulling names out of a hat for changes. But when you have this much firepower, it's got to be a bit more diverse when you move into the attacking third.
Asante. Header is in. Phoenix grabs the lead. A little bit of luck to that, perhaps, but Junior Flemings takes the carom and sends it goalward. Phoenix rising ahead.
They always use Junior Flemings as a little pivot and sometimes a decoy, to be honest. They can run a quick little stunt to the top of the 18. Every now and then they'll catch teams sleeping, and they allow them to play low. Solomon Asante, the benefactor of the flick across here. Lovely near post run. How about Dadashov? Picked up right where Adam John left off. All he does is redirect this. We asked for it in the opening 45 minutes. And just inside 15, when you come into the second half, you finally find your playmaker who's been isolated out on the island, gets his chance, pokes it out, sticks it into the back of the net.
That is his 40th USL championship goal. And what's more, he's now scored a goal in each of Phoenix Rising's first 3 games. Well, now Phoenix will try and play from ahead the rest of the way, seal 3 points, put him on 9 through 3 games ahead of Landon Donovan's San Diego side. And in a 16-game season, Devin, if you grab 15 early points in your first 5-6 games,
book it.
You're in a really good spot to be top 2 of the group to get into the playoffs in October.
So watch, Mike, next 5-10 minutes, not just the reaction out of Orange County SC, but also I want to see exactly what Junior Flemings brings to the table right now. Why? Santi Moar comes on. He's now occupying the position on the far side of the field, and Flemings comes to the interior. It's something they've been toying with at Phoenix Rising for quite some time. But practicing and gameplay are 2 totally different things. He's alongside Stanton, got to have a conversation with Lambert every now and then. The defensive responsibilities for Junior Flemings are going to become much more apparent, especially the way that Orange County likes to overload the middle.
3rd goal this year for Junior Flemings. A Jamaican international in his own right. Hasn't scored at the international level, but debuted with the national team for Jamaica against French Guiana in the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Came through Tivoli Gardens into the Red Bull organization, was on that 2016 USL championship winning side. Good take here by Moar. Moar dances, as he so often does. Lofted ball toward Dadashov.
I know you have gone down one, Mike. Outside of 20 minutes to go. Braden Cloutier staring down the bench. Chandler Hoffman, Darwin Jones, some real game changers that have the opportunity to provide that spark. That was pretty apparent 10 minutes into the first half. Totally different squad coming out at halftime. Since then, they've honestly been wheeling and dealing, trying to get back into this match.
Darnell King goes into the back of Smith. By the way, Devin, you listen closely, and there are only a scattered number of fans outside the fence of this venue, and yet you can still hear the chanting, which is quite unique in a stadium that is being played theoretically behind closed doors for this day. Darwin Jones comes on into the line for Harry Forrester, who was playing on a yellow card.
That'll help keep that far side of Santi Moar and Usuanto Kanto a bit more honest. It's a lot of speed over there. Wouldn't want to be training with those boys.
Darwin Jones, an incredible story, actually. How he ended up in Orange County. Really how he was able to bring in another major piece to Orange County. Kevin Coleman came on for Seth Kasipli, so a double change there up front. Ball dumped in over the top, and this is offside. Phoenix grabbing the opening goal in the 64th minute of play. And the Rising fans, they love it. The virtual watch party continues from the state of Arizona.
Look at Stephen Nicole in that top corner up there.
Oh, all right.
How about that?
Yeah.
Pictures reminiscent of the championship back in 2018 when they won the West. Made it to the title game. Some quality memorabilia sitting around, huh?
And the ball landing in the section that Phoenix owned for that game. It was packed.
They traveled well.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive. Saw something similar at the final, too. Had that whole corner set out for him.
They set up a fully chartered flight. New Mexico did that in the U.S. Open Cup last year.
Took the words right out of my mouth. The growth of this league and what it's been able to do, traveling to Minnesota United.
I mean, think about where Phoenix was 5 years ago. They were Arizona United. It was a fairly hapless team. No real star power, played rather slow. They were playing on a baseball field. And here they are. They called it from tumbleweeds to rough and tumble. They built a stadium using the stands from the Phoenix Open. Asante slips it through. Asante, one of the major stars that came in alongside Didier Drogba. And they go from bottom of the table to a consistent contender. And last year, the runaway regular season champion in this league. And the fans have come out in droves. Really remarkable. This will skitter all the way out, lead to a corner. Aguinaga set to come on, and Sam Stanton doesn't know his numbers on the board just yet. What did you make out of Sam Stanton, a guy who's played nearly 200 games in the Scottish Championship?
Quite similar to John Baccaro's performance, vanilla for the evening. You know, not necessarily as spicy as you'd like it to be, but certainly wasn't dull by any means. Efficient on the ball. And that's what you need out of this midfield three. But you understand also that teams are going to recognize where they need to prepare. They understand the threats up top when you start Asante, Flemings, and Dadashov. And if you can't find success through those guys, you have to start to mutate.
Corner Orange County and an early whistle.
That was the concern that Rick Schantz had last game himself as well. You watch them play, Mike, and there's no real overwhelming presence in the middle of the field. Every time that Baccaro or Stanton were on the ball, you didn't feel like, wow, you're on the edge of your seat, playmaking is about to happen. Now, you weren't worried either something bad was going to go the other direction. So that's where the consistency starts to creep in that I talk about.
Is Asante played through. Poor clearance. Asante settles. It is wide of the post. The ball moving in slow motion, gradually angling away. Corner.
Michael Orozco makes a poor decision, get his pocket picked. Watch this ball when it comes back up over the top. Have to wonder where the touch is going right here. He sees Solomon Asante out in front of him on the right. Nathan Smith trying to make his way back. Orange County quite lucky that it's not 2-0 right now.
And Asante takes the ensuing corner, steered all the way to the back post. And can Orange County get out on the run? The electric Darwin Jones is driving that Phoenix back line into their own half. Mike Watts, Devin Curry, USL Championship. We used to call Game of the Week. Now it's just the game we're playing today. Orange County taking on Phoenix from Championship Soccer Stadium in Irvine, California. And a typical Southern California day in Orange County. Tomorrow, our string of games continues on ESPN2. The Tampa Bay Rowdies will play host to North Carolina FC. Dave Sarakin leading that side, the former U.S. men's national team interim manager. It was interesting. I was talking to Neil Collins with you today, the Rowdies manager, former center back, a former Sunderland guy, and asking him about what he's been doing during the time off, whether he watched some of the great Netflix series, Sunderland Till I Died. He said he was glued to it.
I got myself in trouble with that one. I went from Sunderland to the Leeds documentary.
Yep.
Transitioned to the Dortmund on Amazon Prime. And needless to say, during the travel last year during the season, wife wasn't always happy that she wasn't getting the phone calls.
Oh, look at this ball over the top. Ball slid wide. Did that skip through and in? Kevin Coleman. 74th minute, Orange County level.
Ask and you shall receive. We wanted more playmakers from the likes of Orange County. So there was a lot of speed. If you're Braid Cloutier looking down the bench, Darwin Jones, Kevin Coleman, those were two of them. Chandler Hoffman's still there laying and waiting, by the way. But these long balls coming out of the back for Orange County have been problematic time and time again. He's got to clean up his touches a little bit here, and you see the trailing run of Corey Whelan. But when you have this much real estate to work with, it's not that difficult. Clinical on the tail end of it. Strap yourselves in, 15 to go.
Alvarado comes on. Coleman's first of the year. Crisostomo has come off. So there is a hole in the back of the net, which makes me feel a little less out of sorts.
Fourth official was just fired.
Usually it's the ARs going over there, just checking with the flag, making sure everything's A-okay.
There's an assessor in the locker room right now eating pizza, laughing hard.
Asante plays it forward. We promise there could be some fireworks laid on here because that is the Orange County and Phoenix way. Asante for Dadashov. Nearly in quick succession. And a hydration break comes at the 75th minute. And Orange County felt like these would help them, Devin.
It's going to help anyone, right? With the amount of pressure being put on by Phoenix Rising, it's a whole nother tempo coming their way. This is a much better response, though. Honestly, it took the goal. Start of the second half was nice. They tailed off a little bit. Phoenix Rising gets its goal. You start to come back in. Really liked their ability to really expand this game, like stretch it, continuously pushing. The problem is it's kind of been isolated situations where it's the long ball over the top, 1v2, 1v3, asking a lot of that one player to go do it on their own. Fortunate on this one that in the equalizer, the isolated situation is a 1v1 and just gets in behind. You figure out how we got here. What a little flick this is by Dadashov on the near post. Kept saying, why not run the stunt the other direction? This is exactly why. I'll have a seat. You guys do your thing. Junior Fleming's 1-0. Didn't last very long, though, did it? What do we get? 64th minute. You're looking at about 10 minutes on the watch. What a ball coming back over the top of this back line. A.J. Cochran way out of position. Did he rip the net? Who knows? All that matters is it tickles the nylon, and we're back at square one.
That did a lot more than tickle it. Coleman driving this past Zach Lubin and literally through the net and into the stands.
There's a telling look at the tail end of the replay, Mike. Zach Lubin looks to the sideline in disgust almost at the assistant referee. You don't hear any arguing coming from the Phoenix Rising faithful on the sideline, nor from the players. So they understood that they had gotten themselves caught in the cookie jar and they were left exposed on the backside.
Out of the hydration break, we'll see benefits. Flemings takes a knock.
Just watch this near side, Mike. With the departure and now additions of John Baquero, Stanton, and then you bring in Aguinaga and Moar. We said Moar goes to the left. Junior Fleming starts to come in. But one thing that Phoenix Rising started to experiment with at the end of last year wasn't just bringing Junior Flemings to the interior. It was allowing Solomon Asante, #1, to do the same, albeit they were both on the wings at the time. But now that you've got them paired up next to each other, watch them interchange. Watch these overlapping runs where Fleming starts to feel more comfortable on the outside. He'll come out. Solomon Asante will come to the interior. It's just one more added weapon to add to their arsenal that seems like every single time you turn your head, they get better and better.
They'll look to patch up Flemings. And Nathan Smith finds himself in another the collision here. It's 1-1 here between Orange County and Phoenix in the 79th minute of play. Let's take a look at what's coming up on ESPN2 and ESPN Deportes this weekend and into next week. Tampa Bay takes on North Carolina Friday night. It's a 6 p.m. Eastern time kickoff. Got Sacramento and Reno. Devin, they historically don't like each other.
Not friends. Not even acquaintances, are they? And we have the luxury of having seen some of these teams around the league. That Pittsburgh Indy game, I tell you, it's going to be a juicy fixture for sure. Those are two of the better performances we've seen in the return to play. Riverhounds, of course, going to brand new Lynn Family Stadium at Louisville City, disposing of the Eastern Conference rivals 3-1, and Martin Rennie and co. Pretty impressive performance at home against new manager Steve Tritton-Chu, St. Louis FC, 2-0.
This will send Okoli back, and Cochran nods it to Lubin. We also have San Diego and LA Galaxy coming up on the 19th here. That's a 10 p.m. Eastern time kickoff on Sunday on ESPN Deportes. So a good look at Landon Donovan's side, which will be attempting to overtake Phoenix once again if this scoreline holds in Group B.
Watch this tempo, Mike. Let's see how quickly these guys downshift and see if they can pick it up a bit here. You made some changes, fresh legs. Everybody understands what's at stake. All right, you're back at 1-1. 10 minutes till the finish line. Let's see if we can get some fireworks going here.
Flemings, who scored in the 64th minute. Flemings finally impeded by Orozco. Orozco himself pushed by Moar.
What a tackle by Michael Orozco. Junior Fleming's 50-yard run the entire way. You could hear the shouts. They wanted him to come to this near touchline to Solomon Asante. Sometimes you just let the Jamaican go, though. Cool as he could be the entire way, Orozco steps over. First tackle, second one. Rewarded with a rough challenge by Santi Moar for his efforts. Doesn't agree with the referee. Shocking from the Spaniard. Haven't really seen him on the ball as much as we'd like since his inception into this match. Again, there's just so much talent on the field right now, Mike.
Driven away by Lambert. Lasky. Okoli. They'll come back here. Aiden Quinn, Orange County, we're probably hoping to move a bit quicker. Quinn tried to serve that. Lambert. Flemings. Asante. Flemings. Back to Asante. Asante stepping through, and Orange County closes it down.
It's a little bit of what I was telling you about. Little 1-2 punch, usually on opposite ends of the field, and now an opportunity to create a little bit of brothers in arms on this near touchline.
Moar helping to create this. Cut back for Dadashov. You believe these teams are going to play each other again next week? Such is the nature of these 8 regionalized groups in which you'll see teams 3 to 4 times and play some interdivisional games to help decide the playoffs. Tossed in for Phoenix. Coleman. Okoli. Okoli through the challenge. It's a wave of orange shirts. Jones Jones crossing at Lubin.
Just look at the gap in the middle right now, Mike, with all the changes that have been made and the way that Orange County SC is lining up. Remember, coming to the near and just leaving themselves with a load of real estate in the middle of the box. Resorting yourself to these long balls. And this is where you have to be careful, because although to the rich go the spoils, when you get Junior Flemings and Solomon Asante on at the same time and they can play together, you also have to be oh so careful of your shape. And that's a little bit of what you're seeing in the middle right now. Look at everybody. Aguinaga to the near. And there's this quick little circle right where the referee is for Aiden Quinn to operate. That's why you've started to see a bit more explosion coming out of Orange City to go the other direction. Haven't been able to put it all together yet, though.
Asante toward Dadashov, who trips the ground. He deflected this wide of Cervantes. The USL's elite pre-professional platform, USL Academy, allows clubs across the USL to build a pathway to pro soccer by bringing together top local youth talent. Following the success of the first Academy Cup events, clubs can apply to participate in the USL Academy League, kicking off spring 2021. More information, visit usl-academy.com or search the hashtag USL Academy on social media. Kalistri for Dadashov.
Last little pawn on the board, Mike. Watch Junior Flemings go all the way up top now. The last ace in the hole, trying to play his as a number 9. They feel like they've become quite comfortable with it. And the question is, with 5 minutes to go on the road in this restart, you got any magic left in that bag of yours?
10 goals in their first 2 games. 6 against Portland Timbers 2 before the restart back in March. 4 more after winning on Saturday against LA Galaxy 2. Way too much room to orchestrate for Asante. That's a high boot, a dangerous one. Aguinaga throwing his leg out at that.
He's frustrated. He wanted this ball into feet, and the opportunity was there. Also had the shout over his far shoulder with a quick little flick on the back post run. There's a substitute coming in. Sometimes you're just off kilter a little bit. He's asking right in front of him. The window opens right up. Instead, Danny Finlayson on the backside of things gets a nice little boot to the face. Not a bad debut for that young man.
No, he's played the part.
Held his own. Plenty of others on the pitch you could point out over him.
Came on trial at the beginning of that Rangers partnership, the Scottish giant. Here's Aguinaga, who, like his former teammate at Red Bull, Florian Vallot, out of Ryder, put some major players into major places in pro soccer. Aguinaga initially out of Real Madrid's academy. Orange County will go to their bench. We'll get our first look at Chandler Hoffman replacing Brian Olosky. Chandler Hoffman, the Birmingham, Alabama native, on loan from Legion, where it simply didn't seem to work out. Timing perfect with Thomas Enevoldsen leaving for Denmark to attend to the birth of his child. So the former UCLA Bruin and MLS Cup champion with LA Galaxy makes his Orange County debut in his first game back from an ACL tear. And Whelan pops back to his feet. Then we got a chance to talk with Chandler Hoffman on your Three Honest Lads podcast this week in the lead up to this game. Really incredible resilience and the 3rd best goal scorer in the history of this league. feels there's one thing he still hasn't achieved. He's still after that championship crown. So that still motivates him. Calistri lobbing.
He's pretty quick-witted, wasn't he?
Chandler Hoffman,
yeah,
yes.
He's sometimes you can hear someone and almost hear the brain processing. Teeth crunching on the other side of the microphone. That wasn't the case at all. Well scripted the entire way and didn't even know what questions were coming his direction, but just moments to go here. He'd like the ball to be headed in the other direction to get a chance.
Asante pushing at Smith. That get out. Phoenix appealing for a corner. Coley versus for Coleman, who scored the equalizer in this game. For what it's worth, Hoffman initially came to California and had mandatory quarantine, as is the league policy when joining the side. Flemings off the turnover. Positive slide by Kiernan to slow it, but Mowar slips. So Hoffman has only trained for a few days with the side, 10 in orange, ahead of his Orange County debut. Contact, not enough to draw the foul. Comes over to Hoffman on the bounce. 5 additional minutes of stoppage time to find a late winner in this one. King. Calistri. Calistri again.
And these waves are just going to continue to come for Phoenix Rising. Mike, Orange County has to do a better job when they are starting to play out of the back to maintain some sort of proper disposition on the ball, because you can see it's just sort of these long headers, hitting the reset, knocking the long ball down the field. They have to find a way to build as well.
Asante wide again, Calistri. Played long, and it's a foot race. Settled here for Orange County. Darwin Jones. Jones curling off target.
A bit of frustration here by Darwin Jones, and this is one of the ones you saw. Chandler Hoffman is going to come into your screen at the tail end of this. He sits at the top of the 18. You have the back post run of Ugo Akoli happening as well. And all three of them just, reading a different book. 3-4 minutes to go in a match, Mike. You're 1v1 just outside top of the 18. Your body's tired. It's a lot easier if you just let one fly than to try and put the pieces together.
Calistri firing forward, helps to keep the ball. Asante tried to glide by, and now Orange County the other way. Rolled ahead, flag stays down. Jones goes down.
Watch out. Watch out.
Kanto, the former Orange County player, sent off, back pocket.
How close is this coming the other direction? You're almost begging Aiden Quinn, after the beautiful tackle by Nathan Smith, not to hit this ball, play the easy ball next to him, and you could go as a unit. Once again, Darwin Jones, we saw it. Kevin Coleman stepped on the pitch initially, ran a very similar run, but how smart is this? Touch into the negative space. Out in front of the defender, come across the path. Understand that two things are going to happen. You're going to continue your run, go one-on-one with Zach Lubin, or you're going to get taken down.
And so Kanto's return concludes with a red card, and we should get a little more time on the clock than the initial 5 minutes.
Mike, Remember, just seconds before that, we talked about how when Orange County started to push, they get outside the top of the 18. They've basically got a 3v3, and I said the easy thing to do here is to let your mental thought processing start to break down and just unleash a shot. Darwin Jones understood that he made a mistake. He was very frustrated and hard on himself, yelling into thin air. Much better decision-making this time around, even though he's out in front of the play. And yes, he's got one with the goalkeeper. He recognizes the threat and understands that he's got two options. Either one gets him in a good spot.
He'll watch from the edge of the tunnel. It could be Quinn, it could be Okoli. Okoli at Lubin. And in the end, if you're Kanto, certainly you don't enjoy being off at this point. But if you just saved a point for your team, not the worst red card you could take at this stage of the game. Trouble in the back, Flemings. Flemings for Phoenix. Flemings cuts it all the way back across, and the slide sends it off. The late slide in by Moar could have been a game winner.
And that's the other argument here, right? Prior to going back to the free kick and the red card on the other side of the field, Junior Flemings fancies himself. It's got to be on that left foot to have any good chance whatsoever, as the angle was pretty small. The other argument here is Kanto didn't try and take him down. I mean, you can tell right away the way that he's trying to play that out. However, given the way that the rule book has changed over the past couple years, you go way back when, you point to the spot in a last man situation. That's no longer the case now. That rule's gone. Yes, you still get the straight red. But to your point, you might have saved the ability to go down by 3 here, right? Lose 3 points. You go down 2-1. And that rise that we talked about and how difficult it would be in Group B, a bit more difficult. Not the case now.
All of a sudden, San Diego would be on 7. Orange County and Phoenix would be level. If this stands, Orange County would move to 4. Ball across there for Asante. If this stands, Phoenix would be on 7 points through 3 games. Just like San Diego, Orange County would be on 2 points through 2. Settled wide. How much time does the referee give here? Ball's got to get pumped forward for Orange County. The race is on here for Phoenix in pursuit of 2 extra points at the end. Lambert, Moar, Asante, Flemings. Flemings sends it across, wheeling through and out. And the full-time whistle. An incredible last 5 minutes, but Devon still, it finishes 1-1.
And they finally picked it up, and you can start to get glimpses of why everybody's high on these two teams. Now, there is a long way to go, not just to the USL Championship final, but the number 1 and 2 spots in Group B. But if there's any indication of what they're capable of, it is the bright spots that you saw this evening. Junior Flemings gets back into it. From an aerial standpoint, hard to believe Kevin Coleman gets his first goal of the season. Darwin Jones thought maybe he gave his team an opportunity. And with all the chances we saw here tonight, 1-1 seems fitting.
And while the fans aren't allowed in the venue, still enjoying the 1 point they saw from distance. Fleming scores the opener in this one. The response for Orange County late. It finishes 1-1. We wrap it up when we come back.